Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining me for the Map to Mastery, the Implementation Masterclass. My name is Paul Garrigan, and I am a human performance and men's coach. And I'm really excited to share with you the exact map that I have helped to support hundreds of men with over the past 4 years to transform their life. So over the course of the next 30 to 45 minutes, we will be delving into the exact step-by-step process that I have used in order to help men to do just that. So if you are a man who is maybe knows he has untapped potential within, maybe a man who is unfulfilled and is looking to reach his full potential, maybe a man who knows he has more within him and is maybe sabotaging his own life with his limiting beliefs and getting in his own way, then this will be a masterclass just for you in helping you to start to take the steps to become the master of your moments and engineer yourself to live an extraordinary life. Now, this isn't going to be like different masterclasses that are out there by different people and marketing gurus that are telling you things and trying to sell you various products to basically give you a false sense of belief in what that they are trying to give you. This is about you. This is about you implementing the tools, the strategies, and the procedures in your own life to begin to make the necessary changes, because you are the magic man, and this is about you. This is about me helping you to unlock your own potential so you can go and live a life of true fulfillment, success, and transformation. Now, this is about how you show up in the world, man. And when we look at how you show up, if you're not showing up as your full self, then essentially this will affect the people around you, and it will equally affect what you are able to do in the world. So this is not only just for you, but it's also for your children, for your partner, for your relationships, and also for your career and purpose in the world as a man. So I'm going to show you the exact process in which we can uncover and disentangle ourselves from these sabotaging behaviors and past ways of operating by beginning to shift your identity to who you want to be and how to start to take the necessary steps in order to implement the habits, the feelings, the actions to create a new state of being of how you are showing up in your life. If you're like many men, you know, we read the self-help books, we listen to the marketing gurus, we've tried different courses, we've maybe tried the exercise, the cold showers, you know, the diets, the fasting, all these different well-being initiatives that don't seem to create the necessary changes to create an ambience within us that allows us to be happy and allows us to take a step-by-step process to success. And it can leave many men feeling more confused, isolated, and alone, that we end up going down this lone wolf mentality route that, you know, we think that there's something broken within us and we think that there's something wrong. Well, I'm here to assure you, man, that you're not broken and there's nothing wrong. We have all the information. Now it's about the implementation. So let's get into that. And I'm just going to share with you first a little bit about my story to help this resonate with where you might be at right now and the step-by-step process that I have followed in terms of the Map to Mastery that has led me to now being the man that I am today. What we will be covering, like I say, will be the exact process that I have followed. And I'm just about to share a screen with you just now. So I will share the screen. So the Map to Mastery class. Okay. So let's get back to the start. So I'll let you know a little bit more about who I am. So, you know, like you already know, my name is Paul Garrigan and I'm a human performance and men's coach. And my journey throughout life has been filled with many challenges, through many obstacles, and through many difficult situations that I've had to work through and overcome. And I was a man who, 7 years ago, externally had it all, but internally I was broken, I was empty, and there was something missing. I had the houses, I had the cars, I had the holidays, I had a beautiful family, a partner, and two beautiful boys. And there was just something really lacking in my life, that I was struggling with anxiety, I was struggling with panic, I was overwhelmed and didn't know who I was and who I wanted to be. And I was a man who knew he was meant for so much more. So here's some pictures of the life that I have led. There's some pictures of when I was a young man. From a young age, I got into the sport of boxing. After having, quite, a difficult, if you like, upbringing in certain ways, and through certain struggles that many people, have through their upbringing, it led me into the sport of boxing, which is something that really helped me in stepping up and showing up in the city that I'm from, if you like, which is Liverpool. And I'm really beginning to step into masculinity, or to what I thought masculinity was at a really young age, which was to be strong, to be tough, and to be resilient. Which then led me, down a path when I was around 20, after I'd sort of, spent a lot of time investing my time in boxing. I then started to try to be the biggest, the strongest that I could be. And I started taking anabolic steroids, which you will see on one of the pictures. I spent a couple of years trying to be who I thought the world wanted me to be, trying to show up in the way that I thought the world wanted me to show up, trying to be big, strong, tough, trying to look handsome, trying to look and act in certain ways that was never really me, which was really deep rooted in my need for love and validation from the world. Which drove me to the brink of, really, really mentally suffering and struggling. And this was about 2011 time. So by 2013, I then joined the reserve regiment of the parachute regiment, the 4th Battalion. Again, I was seeking this sort of initiation into masculinity, to prove myself as a man, to show that I was tough enough, mad enough, crazy enough, resilient enough. And I was thinking, what will be the toughest thing that I could do? And by the SAS, or the Special Forces, joining the parachute regiment was the next option for me to prove myself as a man. So I spent 6 months training for the paras, and I passed. I ended up getting the coveted maroon beret, and I was proud, massively proud, that I had achieved this, because it's no easy feat to be able to achieve. But I do have to say, after a couple of days, the emptiness that I felt before the training arrived back. And there was this nagging feeling that there was something still wrong, that I hadn't resolved what I needed to resolve. And this was just a temporary fix to a wound that laid much, much deeper. So I thought at this time in my life, maybe it was the external things in life. Maybe it was money that I was seeking. Maybe it was career that I was seeking. And, there was a sense that I wasn't aligned with my purpose even then. So around 2014 and 15, I joined an organization called Tradewinds, and they are an organization that work in the offshore industry. And I started working in Saudi Arabia, earning really, really good money. When I began to know something was wrong was when I was kissing my kids goodbye, and when I was getting on a helicopter to go off to the rig. Because of both of these times, I was breaking down in tears and I was having panic attacks. So I knew there was something that was not right, but I didn't know any idea how to break out of this. I didn't know how to stop it. And I just, continued to carry on with my life just the way it was. This brought me then to thinking that maybe it was because I'm not living at home and I was suffering with attachment issues, not being close to my family. So I got a job back home for a European telecoms company as a project manager and a senior project manager. Again, earning really good money, and was building solid foundations and support for myself and my family. And we ended up, we bought our own home. We had 2 cars. We were going on holidays. And, like you can see on the picture, I had an incredible partner and 2 beautiful boys. But there was something wrong. Again, I was falling into having panic attacks. I was thinking there was something wrong with me. I thought because my father struggled in life, that was, the life that I was doomed to follow. And I went to the doctors and to the GP, and the GP gave me some medication called SSRIs, which are like antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. Now, they numbed the effects that I was feeling, but they certainly stopped me from being who I am and who I wanted to be. So because I had money and I had the time to invest in myself, I decided that I'm going to go on a journey. And around 7.5 years ago, I started to invest my money at working with some incredible people in the world, and whether that be trauma specialists, neuroscientists, spiritual teachers, psychotherapists, mystics, breath scientists, respiratory scientists, sleep scientists, and different spiritual teachers, and learning, different somatic and body modalities, and just learning, a lot of information about the human psyche, the archetypes, and how we are made up in terms of human beings, but certainly, with an emphasis on masculinity and men and how men are wired, and trying to help myself understand why I am wired the way I am. So through doing that work, I then developed over the course of the past 7 years from working with all these people. Around 4.5 years ago, I started to develop a course, and this course was from the things that I had been learning along the way, in terms of me then wanting to give back to men, and to be able to give men the map that has been specifically helping me. So I went on a men's retreat, and I had a conversation with a friend called Ben Bidwell. And during that conversation with Ben, he actually lit the fire that planted the seed for the work that I am doing right now. And this is the power of men's work, from doing, men's retreats and delving deeply into men's work. It helped me understand my purpose and my mission in the world. Now, within a few months, I had sold out courses, and them courses sold out for 3 to 4 years, up until I had launched what I am now doing now, which is called Men's Inner Mastery Academy, which is basically an ongoing platform for men to be able to untap their untapped potential and begin to step into the man that they know they can be, and help them to live a truly happy, successful, and fulfilling life. So that is the journey that has led to the man I am today. Now, over the course of the past few years, I've had some incredible experiences going on different men's retreats, which you'll see, on the top right of the screen, but equally doing different filming and being part of, a series on TV, which was about fathers and sons, which was an incredible opportunity, and opportunities that I could only dream of. I am doing things that I, used to dream about. And this is why, following the map to mastery will help you uncover the life of your dreams. But equally, I am here to help you not make the same mistakes that I made along the way, by giving you the direct guidance of the things that I did, and maybe the potholes to avoid, so you can get there at an accelerated speed and pace. Okay. So this is what led me to create Men's Inner Mastery Academy, which, like I said earlier, this is a long-term platform that is there to help and support men. Now, within Men's Inner Mastery Academy, I offer various programs throughout the year, and there is a set criteria of man that joins Men's Inner Mastery Academy. This is not for every man. This is for men who are ready to go all in, men who are ready to change, men who are ready to be the man that they know they were born to be, and men who are courageous, ambitious, and dare to be great. So there is a set criteria of man that is in this group that basically, in order to become part of what I call an alliance and brotherhood of men, you have to be able to meet the certain criteria in order to, join and become part of this brotherhood. Because it is a super strong container of men that has the capacity to help you create the life of your dreams and to meet all of your ambitions with certainty. So it's something that I've been working on, and I believe the past few years of my life has led me up to this point, in which we launched it in April, and it has been incredibly successful in the work we are doing. There are some testimonials on my YouTube channel if you wish to go and look at some of the men and their stories and some of the incredible transformations that have taken place for them. So now let's get on to the map to mastery. What is it? And how do we begin to implement these changes in our lives as men? As mentioned earlier, this is a universal roadmap and blueprint for personal growth that any man, regardless of their background, can use. Now, when I say any man, regardless of their background, can use, any man can use this, but not every man will, because not every man has got the discipline, the dedication, the motivation, and the inspiration to be able to follow this through from start to finish, that they will maybe get a day or two in and then turn to looking for something else. And like I say, this isn't a fad. This is a map to mastery that you must follow from A to B to C in order to get your desired results, to create a life that is engineered by you. So within the map to mastery system and the strategy that we use, there are 4 key pillars to self-mastery that I work with, which is, the pillars are, number 1 is you're doing in the world, your action, the action that you're taking every single day. This is important because the actions you take today determine where you go tomorrow. And I know this sounds really simple, but, a lot of men and, 95% of human beings are sleepwalking through life. So if we're not paying attention daily to the actions we're taking, and we're taking unconscious action, then we're essentially living an unconscious life. So that's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is your thinking, how you create the world with your mind. And we regurgitate 95% of the same thoughts we had yesterday, today. So if we're not paying conscious attention to our inner voice and our thinking, then we are going to be governed again by the unconscious, which is going to lead us to the same places that we've been led to up to this point. Pillar number 3 is your feeling and emotion. So this is your emotional intelligence, how you navigate your emotional world and your emotional landscape as a man. This is your ability to have fun, to be in pleasure, to be in bliss, to look at the world through the eyes of a child and have a beginner's mind for everything that you are doing, and to tap into the sensual and intimate side of life. And pillar number 4 is your state of being, who you are being in this moment. It is your inspiration. It is your purpose in the world, your ability to self-govern the direction of your life, your capacity to be present with all the other pillars in order to navigate each and every step from your thinking, your feeling, your doing, and taking complete responsibility for where your life has been, for where it is at, and for where it is going. So this is the 4th pillar. So if we can begin to implement certain strategies from each of these pillars every day, this is a gateway to long-term transformation and success. Let me tell you, this has been tried and tested with hundreds of men, and they are living the life that they could only have dreamed of just a few months ago. So You can look at the screen at what I've done, and feel free to get a pen and paper and begin to jot down some of the things that might come up on the screen, and equally give yourself a bit of room in each box to write certain things under the pillar that we mention here. So the reason that I mentioned the pillars in the way I just did is I developed them into a map that worked for me, using words that actually resonated with where I am at in my life. And that is why I call it PACT. So PACT stands for power, awareness, compassion, and transformation. Okay. So when we are looking at power and action, we are talking about our warrior energy. We're talking about, our habits. What are the things we're doing every day? What time am I getting up? Am I exercising? Am I disciplined? Am I taking action? Am I doing the things I know I need to do in order to move towards where I want to get to? Or am I not doing things that are going to move the needle? Am I setting goals and actually taking action towards getting to them goals? Okay. Am I building a structure in my daily routine that is then going to help my weekly routine, which then ties into my monthly routine, which then ties into my yearly routine, which then essentially will move me towards the goals in which I want to achieve, whether that be internal or external. And then we go on to awareness and thinking. So this is our ability to create the world with our mind. And a saying I use is, if we have a knife and you don't hold that knife steady, that becomes a dangerous weapon. So very much like the mind, if we don't steady the mind and use it in a way that it is intended, and we become the slave to our own mind, then the mind will basically create havoc in our lives. But this is about us taking control of our mind and learning to hold it in a steady way that we direct it towards that which we choose to create, which means we need to look at our own belief systems, our core beliefs of who we are, our self-talk, our egoic structure, if you like, and how we speak to ourselves and how we look at the world and how we view the world. And this means we might need to put certain practices in place in order to grow in awareness and consciousness, so we can begin to disentangle from beliefs that no longer serve us and begin to step into an abundant and, and strip away the lack and fear mindset. So this is the pillar of awareness. And then we look at the pillar of feeling and compassion. So feeling and compassion is our ability to feel the world. As men, we are very much locked in the head. We look at the world through a very logical lens, and we have become, over time, very disconnected from our bodies, which, there is good reason for. When we think about, 80 years ago, we as men were sent to war to kill, and then we were expected to come back into reality and to our families and society completely normal, as if that wouldn't have some sort of effect on our mind, body, and nervous systems. So as men right now, we are working to be able to come back into the body and to find a place of safety within ourselves. And this starts with our ability as men to feel, our ability to process our emotion, our ability to be in tune with our own instrument and our own vessel, which is our body. If we look at a guitar, it is finely tuned and we tune it to the right sound. Equally, we need to become more finely tuned to our body. So this is about, our lover type energy, tapping into the lover within, tapping into your sensuality as a man, your intimacy, whether that's, self-intimacy or with your partner, being present in the moment with your children, having that childlike wonderment yourself for life, where, you're no longer, taking life so serious, because seriousness is one of the biggest killers in the world. Where you actually go and watch children play, you will see how they're not really thinking of any problems. They're not thinking of what happened yesterday, or they're not thinking of what's happening tomorrow. They're very much present in the moment with what's happening for them. So really beginning to, also feel this element of compassion equally towards yourself as a man. For a lot of men hold a lot of shame and guilt, how they may have shown up in past experiences in their lives. It's really working to understand our felt experience and working through shame, guilt, pain, limiting beliefs that are, that are maybe keeping this locked felt sense constricted, that we're so tight and holding life so tightly that we allow no room for fluidity to emerge in our lives. And it's really, tapping into that, movement and the feminine essence that we have within men, because we have a feminine essence within as much as we want to be masculine, and we are. We also have a dynamic of femininity within us, which is our ability to, enjoy receiving in life as well. And the final pillar, men, is transformation and being. So, this is really our energy of taking full leadership and self-governance for the direction in which our life is heading. Now, that also means taking accountability for where our life has been and for where it is at, because a lot of the time we can blame other people and blame certain situations for our current life circumstances. But if for this moment, we could just let go of anything anybody else has ever done, and we could look at the situation through new eyes and say that where my life is at right now, I am going to take 100% responsibility for where it is at. And that therefore I take self-governance and begin to lead myself and the other dimensions that I have within in terms of my actions and doing, my thinking and my feeling, that I become 100% responsible for who I am being from this moment forward. Now, this really ties in with living a life that is inspiring, with being on purpose with where we are going in the world, with actually taking actionable steps and calculated risks to where we want to go in life, because we spend so much of our life playing small and not thinking big and not trying to achieve the things that we know we would love and want to do, through fear of failure, through fear of not being good enough, through self-judgment, and through a lack of self-awareness, and through a lack of knowing how to implement this structure and these things that I am trying to bring into the world. So this is about really connecting with the part of you that is inspired, that wants to expand, that knows you are meant for so much more, that is ready to create change in your life. And this is not coming from ego, this is coming from inspiration. So this is not coming from the mind, it is coming from the body and the heart. Okay, with the heart being the seat of the soul, it is helping us to really, come to a place of more stillness, if you like, and tapping into what is actually present and real for us. When we silence the mind, when we silence our actions, and when we tune in with the heart, we allow, the unseen to speak, if you like. So this is, quite a spiritual practice in nature, but is something that, plays a big part in aligning us with who we want to be and where we want to go. Okay, so they are the four pillars, if you like, and I've just described, how they may show up in your life and what things you may be able to start doing right now to start to really, take that action, to really start to bring awareness to how you're creating the world, to start to shift that felt sense and felt experience, and equally beginning to really tap into inspiration and, something that is you want to, how you want to leave a legacy in the world and what your mission is, and is it bigger than you as a man personally? Are we trying to leave an imprint on the world? And a deep question that lands for me is, if I was to die tomorrow, would I be happy with the things that I have done in the world, with how I will be remembered by the people that love me and the people, in the community? And for me, that is absolutely yes. But this is really about, bringing into alignment your internal landscape and your external world. So like I've said, pillar one, power and action. Then we have pillar two, awareness and thinking. Okay. Pillar 3, feeling and compassion. And pillar 4, transformation and being. Okay, so how do we implement these things in our lives? So when we're looking at these 4 pillars, like what things can we begin to implement daily to fill these 4 pillars up, if you like? So a nice analogy that one of my friends, actually uses, and it's been really supportive for me to understand in my own learning journey, is, imagine having 4 cups. So if you've got a piece of paper now, you could draw 4 cups. Okay. Now within them 4 cups, you will, for me, action is physical. So we look at what I call the 4 pillars of health. So if you draw 4 cups and under one of them, write physical, under the second one, write mental, under the fourth one, write emotional, and under the fourth one, write spiritual. And then if we are topping these cups up every day, then we know that we are in alignment with our 4 pillars, which is your action, your thinking, your feeling, and your being. Okay, so there's various practices we can do every day in order to make sure that we are moving the needle and starting to align with who we want to be by implementing the correct behaviors, habits, beliefs, emotions, and actions in our daily routine. So putting it all together, it starts with small, consistent changes. Okay, so this is where, what I mentioned earlier in terms of our, small actionable habits in our daily routine. So what can I be doing today and every day that is going to move me closer to my goals? So if your goals are to be fit, then you might go in the gym 3-4 times a week. Okay, you might be getting up and exercising 10 minutes a day. It might be, creating a vision or some goals for where you want to be moving towards and starting to implement them habits in your daily routine. It might be rising out of bed earlier in order to create more time and space in your day so you can fill up your own cup as a man. So you can then be of service to the world and to the people that love you. One of the biggest parts of obviously doing men's work is getting men to slow down, is getting men to prioritize themselves, is getting men to prioritize sleep. And because a lot of men that do come to work with me end up, before they've decided to jump into men's work, they've been quite, overly stressed and burnt out, and they don't place a priority on rest, recuperation, and sleep. So this is something to really begin to think about when implementing things in your routine. Is it even having a sleep routine and starting to implement a nighttime practices, which might look like different breathing practices, relaxation protocols, something called NSDR, which is non-sleep deep rest. It just allows the body and the nervous system to relax and decompress and digest the day that we may have had. And a big part of putting it all together is self-care, man. So thinking of the things that you need to be doing in order to help you to show up in the way you need to show up. So when we're looking at these 4 cups, number 1 will be you've got your small consistent changes, which would be your physical, your physical health, your actions. You've then got prioritizing sleep. Where would that tie in? Well, that could tie into your mental and awareness, because we're not getting the right amount of sleep. We're not going to show up in the right way. Then we've got self-care, which is your ability to look after your emotions, your ability to look after you, your ability to make sure you're having fun, to make sure, you're getting love, to make sure you're getting into your body. Might be through massage, it might be through, spending time with your partner and your kids and not working so much. It might be, even going to a men's retreat and doing some sort of men's work, or even going to the gym and just taking time out just for you. I'll leave that to you and how you develop your own self-care practice. But this is just, really, it's a really important step, if you like, in putting it all together. And, number 1 for me, and it's really, really important is how we structure our life and our routine. So this would be, your ability to self-govern. So you need to know what things you want in your routine in order to get you to where you want to go. So maybe start when you're looking at your own structure, is putting in the things that you want to do daily and then moving your life around it. I've now got myself to a place that I'm fortunate enough to be able to do just that. I start my week and I will look at the things that I want to do. So if it is, getting up, doing my own practices, if it is going to the gym, if it is taking the kids to school, that is in there first before work. I then put my work and life around my non-negotiables of the things I want to do as a man. So I'm living a more happy, inspired, and fulfilled life. And I'm ticking all the boxes of the things that I want to do. So I'm living life on my terms, and this is what it is really about, man. Let's live life on our terms, and if we're not doing that, we need to figure out how we're going to shift you from where you are right now to moving you towards where you want to be. So this is the 4 pillars of health and the implementation for them. So when we're looking at physical health, 1 second, I'm just going to switch something on my computer. Okay. So when we're looking at physical health, which is the cup I was speaking of earlier, so physical health, what things can you be doing every day that is going to bring up that's going to bring up the residue in your cup and for physical health, and it's going to fill it up, if you like. So it might be physical exercise, it might be doing yoga, it might be doing nothing sometimes to allow yourself to relax. It might be implementing the right structure, the right routine, the right habits, and stopping doing the habits that are unhealthy. Maybe stop eating the things you're eating and start to really address your physical aspect of how you're showing up in the world. It might mean getting up earlier in order to feel better and to get the things in that you want to be getting in and implementing in your daily life. So really looking, at this physical health, it can be even implementing boundaries with people, learning to say no to the people that you should be saying no to, and learning to say yes to the things that you want to be doing in the world as a man. These can all start to fill up the cup of physical health because it's your doing in the world. And if you're not doing the things you want to be doing, you're not going to be happy. So we need to be doing things that we want to be doing, even if they're hard to do. We're not going to procrastinate over the things that we want to be doing. Okay. So that is your physical health. The second one is mental awareness. So when looking to fill the cup of mental awareness and mental fitness, I like to call it, how can I make myself mentally fit? So this will come down to the information I'm taking in. What information am I taking in on a daily basis? Am I listening to the podcasts? Am I listening to the books? Am I implementing the things I'm learning rather than just listening to things and doing courses? Am I actually beginning to implement everything I know? Am I aware of my belief systems? Am I challenging my beliefs and looking to change my beliefs? Okay, so to fill this cup up, I need to become self-aware. That means I need to have practices in my routine in order to grow in self-awareness. So that might mean, some of the practices I've just mentioned, but equally building a self-awareness practice, which might be meditation. It might be, a breathing practice that's going to help me to train my awareness by focusing on my breathing. It's going to help me to understand my mind more deeply when I can slow things down and I build trust, when I can create more self-awareness within myself. It might be doing things that are difficult in order to break out of these limiting beliefs. It might be, doing a marathon. It could be taking a cold shower. It might be going and speaking in front of people, like, doing something that scared you and that's held you back for such a long time. Starting to break down these barriers and limiting beliefs and starting to step fully in to what it is you want to do. And this is about building mental strength and awareness and resilience within yourself and helping you to take the necessary steps to get to where you want to go. The next one for our pillars of health is emotional and compassion. So when we look at our emotional health, and again, looking at this like a cup, how am I filling this up every day? I would say the number one thing that most men struggle with when they work with me, when they start working with me, is their ability to have fun, their ability to not take life so serious, that we take our work and our jobs and, our roles, if you like, as a father, as a partner, as a worker, as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. I'm a serious guy. I'm a really serious guy. I'm a serious man who's on a mission to get to somewhere, but I'm going to do it miserable. Okay, so stop right there. If you're not having fun and you're not enjoying the journey and you're so destination driven, then we need to rewind things a little. We need to come back to your felt sense. We need to come back to having fun, because if we're not having fun, we're essentially going to make ourselves sick, because we're going to become overly stressed and miserable. That this is then going to affect our lives, our relationships with our partners and our children. It's going to affect our ability to have fun in our career and our purpose, that we're not going to be feeling like having fun or inspired for life. So coming back to emotional health and emotional intelligence is your ability to feel yourself in the world. And feeling is the secret. Everything we do in the world is to try to feel better and to feel good. But what if you could train your physiology to change how you feel on command, so you're not constantly falling into stress and unconscious negative behaviors in your life? So the things that we can do for emotional health are do things you love. What things did you like to do as a child that you no longer do? It might be playing on the computer. It might be going to the park. It might be having fun with your kids and being childlike. Allowing yourself to be a child again. It might be going and taking care of yourself, going on the men's retreat, going for a massage, getting into the body, having a bath, getting sensual with the life, really, enjoying the nice food and the fine wines and the nice people, putting yourself around nice people who are not draining your energy field and your emotions, and even taking time out for you and your partner to disconnect from the roles at home of being the father and the mother, and taking time away to just remember who you are and to reconnect on a deeper and more intimate level is something that we don't do enough of, because we become so driven externally that we forget to enjoy and feel life. So there's some things that can really, begin to fill up the emotional health cup, and equally, having an element of gratitude for what you've got, for where your life is right now, and for where you want to go, and seeing if we can build an element of gratitude and excitement for the life that we are living at this moment. And if we're not doing that, then maybe we need to, continue to keep looking more deeply at ourselves in order to create the internal ambience, to cultivate the life that we want. And pillar number 4 is spiritual transformation and health. So this is about our capacity to be connected to something more. So it's breaking out of the mundane way of thinking. It's breaking out of our limited perspectives of what is actually possible, of what we can achieve. And we always put these barriers in front of ourselves, and we put ourselves in this type of cage, or like a small box that we put ourselves in, that we can only do this, this, and this based on, our upbringing, based on our collective conditioning, based on what other people have told us that we are good at. And we put ourselves and confine ourselves to this small box of what is actually possible. When in fact, when we start to fill up this cup of spiritual health, we begin to tap in to a power within us and within, call it the universe, call it God, call it spirit, call it inspiration. whatever way you want to identify with it, we begin to tap in with something that is connecting us and aligning us with something more than what we are in our limited egoic perspective. So it allows us to then begin to, align our internal purpose with our external purpose, which means that we come into alignment with life. We begin to have more fun. We become more inspired. We take full accountability for our past, present, and future. We become more like a king for our own kingdom, and we take full accountability for what is happening in our lives. This is really stepping into true and authentic masculinity and really holding a strong masculine core as men. Now, how would we begin to tap in to, this spiritual health, if you like, and begin to fill up this cup? So what I would really be looking towards stepping into, if you like, would be to, start looking at where you want your life to be if money wasn't an issue in the next 3 to 5 years, or, even starting with the next month, the next 2 months, the next 6 months, the next 12 months. Start to build out a vision of where you want your life to go. Because if we start with the end in mind, it gives us a compass point for where we want to move towards. And then we can start to take actionable steps in our routine. We can start to think of the things we want to be doing in order to create this life. We can start to feel and emotionally align with the life in which we want when we're aligned with our purpose. So this is called living in the end. So we live in the end of the wish fulfilled, but we do it now. Okay, so we generate and align our thoughts, feelings, and actions now, which in turn we're then being that which we want to create. This is sort of the art of manifestation, if you like. But it really does come down to being grounded in ourselves and having, the awareness to self-govern the other pillars. But we must, align these 4 cups, if you like, and ensure that we're filling them all up in different ways throughout our day, which basically means we're operating and firing at a top level each and every day and each and every moment. So really understanding, spiritual health and understanding where you want to go in the world as a man, and then really stepping into that, self-leadership, governance, accountability, responsibility, and inspiration is what's going to really create and shift that change in your life, man. So the common challenges that many men face, if you like, many men look at they look at different, which you've mentioned earlier. We go down this lone wolf route. We have this lone wolf mentality of trying to do everything alone. We try to be successful on our own. We don't like asking for help. But equally, we try to deal with our pain on our own as well, and our failings and our sabotaging behaviors. And the best that we get sometimes is going to the pub and a little, a little slap on the shoulder saying it's all right, crack on, man up, get on with it. And this is life. This is what it's all about. And you just have to crack on. And we don't really get these in-depth conversations and being able to give us the support that we need to go to the depths we need to go to, but also to get to the heights that we want to get to as men. So the common challenges that we face is men trying to go down this path alone, and then pretty much falling off after a week or so. We fall back into patterns. You'd have seen, every January, a lot of men start with the best of intentions for the year that they're gonna achieve all of the goals, and we come to September, October, we look back at the year and they probably fell off. Come the end of January, everything went back to the way it was because we didn't have the discipline or the leadership in which to govern our own faculties and our own tools, if you like, regarding our actions, the mind and our emotions to create the life that we want, because we didn't have enough awareness to create the state of being of who we want to be and start to embody that now. So these are the common challenges that men can face. And, we another way that I'd word it, men, is that we don't like taking directions, and we always get lost, and then we'll find a way once we've got lost. something that I can do when with my partner. She'll tell me to go this way, and I'll say, you know, I know where I'm going. And then when we get there, maybe 10 minutes away from where we should have been, and I didn't listen. And then I'll listen when I've made the mistake. So, you know, it is common for men to try to go down this path alone, men, but it is an invitation really to consider if going it alone up to this point has worked for you. And, you know, essentially to do things differently, and the things that got you to this point now isn't going to get you to the next level, to where you want to go get to as a man. So yeah, the next steps, fellas, the next step, you know, you really have three options, and, you know, you've received a lot of info, and, you know, you can try to implement this knowledge on your own if you like. And you know, you have been given basically a universal blueprint and roadmap that is going to help you to achieve, you know, the life of your dreams. And if you follow the step-by-step process that we spoke about, it has the capacity to change everything in your life, and move you from where you are right now to where you want to be as a man. Now, the three options I would say, fellas, is, you know, is really, you know, number one is don't do anything. You know, maybe you're satisfied with the life you've got. Maybe, you know, you feel that you're maybe not in enough pain right now. Maybe you're not hungry enough. Maybe you're not ready to go all in and create the necessary changes that you know you need to be doing. But you just, you know, you're not at that point right now. That's option one. And if you want to stay stuck and keep doing like the way you're doing it, then keep doing that. Number two, and, you know, this relates back to, you know, the common challenges that men face, is a lot of men try to go down this self-development path alone. It's something that I tried to do alone, and it's just not possible. It's a hell of a lot harder to figure out. We have all this information, but we have no idea or map in which, you know, we need to follow in order to implement it. And it's a lot harder doing things alone than, you know, doing it around people who are actually lifting us up, supporting us, catching us when we fall, but equally having that solid foundation within ourselves that we can actually help other people as well, and offer, you know, our support to other men who might be walking this path, because we're all at different stages of our own journey, if you like, men. So, you know, you have got all the tools, but the hardest part for men, if you like,